I'm not gonna lie, I don't care what anybody says, Daredevil Born Again is 3 for 3 right now. Now, I didn't get a chance to talk about episode 1 and 2 because your boy has been busy with work, but let's talk about episode 3. Now, overall, I really like this episode because this episode really challenges all perspectives on how people view vigilantes. Now, the prosecuting lawyer over here, as much as I don't really like him, he does bring up a good point. He says good people are capable of doing bad things and bad people are capable of doing good things. So with that argument alone, it is really a gray area when it comes to vigilantes and how they operate within the MCU. And that's what makes these stories so compelling because it makes them extremely grounded and very relatable. Because I can't help but to feel like this is how something would go about in the real world. Now, in terms of my own personal perspective, I can't help but to feel like this episode was one big social commentary. Because Hector Ayala, being a Puerto Rican man, a man of color, operating as a vigilante, is going to be treated very differently than Matt Murdock being Daredevil. And yes, that's because he's white. Because I think it's so astonishing that Matt Murdock was able to be Daredevil for multiple years and not be in a courtroom. Whereas Hector, his counterpart being a man of color, he tries to do some good without the mask, but he immediately gets arrested. And I'm not gonna lie, if the MCU plays their cards right, they could use this episode as the thesis and the foundation to create future stories and future projects. Because it's gonna make for great stories, and as we all know, we have heard mention of the Superhero Registration Act. Speaking of the Registration Act, I feel like we're gonna see that adapted a lot sooner than we think. Because by the end of the episode, you see Wilson Fisk call for BB. And he was doing an interview with her, and he basically says that he doesn't agree with the prosecution of Hector Ayala. And long story short, he says if a masked vigilante could be set free after murdering a cop, something needs to be done. So my prediction is that Wilson is going to use this case, this event, to propose the Superhero Registration Act. Now, one last thing I want to talk about, which is also at the end of the episode, is this mysterious figure showing up. A man wearing all black ends up unaliving White Tiger as he's roaming the streets. And as he's putting his weapon away, we see a glimpse of the Punisher logo. Now, I don't think I'm in the minority here. I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say this. I don't think this is Frank Castle. Like I said before, I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say this, but for the people who disagree, let me explain. Now, throughout episode 1 and 2, we see a lot of the corrupted and dirty cops have this tattoo. And as you can see, it very much resembles the Punisher symbol. Now, what I feel like the MCU is doing here, specifically in this plot point, is that they're going to have these dirty cops misunderstand the symbol of the Punisher. And the reason why I think this is brilliant, because it really parallels how people view Punisher in real life. Because more specifically, white men really misunderstand this character wholeheartedly, which is actually really insane if you think about it, because comprehension skills, not there. But anyways, similar to how people misunderstand the Punisher in real life is how they're gonna misunderstand the Punisher in the MCU. Hence the reason why they adapted the symbol to begin with, because they're taking it and repurposing it and adding a new definition to the symbol when it wasn't its original intent. So with that context, let's put the story pieces together. We have corrupt cops doing shady shit, and even with not knowing they were doing shady shit, somebody steps in to help an innocent person. Well, not so innocent. And during the time of that person stepping in between the dirty cops, someone's life is taken away, and that life being one of the dirty cops. So they're not going to tell the truth, because if they tell the truth, then they're going to get axed because they're going to be viewed as criminals as well. Now we have half of the New York population viewing Hector as a cop killer. So by the time the end of the episode came around, when the Punisher, who is also known as a cop killer, killed another cop killer, and you would think he would be on his side. And that immediately told me that, I don't think this is Punisher. I believe that the person donning the symbol of the Punisher was the dirty cop that tried to unalive Nikki Torres. But common sense here, it's this Punisher that we see at the end of the episode is one of the dirty cops who misunderstands the symbol of the Punisher. As per usual, let me know what you guys think and stay woke. Have a great day. I'll see you next week when we talk about episode 4.